welcome back. We are here for the Between, Darkened Mirrors, episode 12. So, as usual, lots happened last time. Let's go around to our players and see what they remember from the last time that they were here. We have not seen Doc for a bit, so I want to see. I'm curious to see what he remembers. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Lord Campbell-Hughes first, and then go that way.
I I don't really remember a lot, but I do remember that Melody was like front and center. There was a lot of scenes with Melody with Whitmore kind of taking her under her wing. And it seems like there was a scene with Lord James Campbell-Hughes and Victor where we talked quite a bit about his cousin. Um, and his cousin been on the case for the monochromatic men, and I have here in my notes that uh, it looks like we were planning on like going after Count Orloff of the St. Petersburg Mirror, and I'm not. I'll have to try to remember why we were going after him, but I think it was going poorly for Count Orloff. I think I want to say we said smash and grab, but I can't remember exactly the details. And to be honest with you, I don't remember what phase we were on, if it was a day phase or a night phase.
We were in day phase, and it's like, I'm happy to continue on with day phase because I think we had, let me see, did we? There was like a lot that we had done last time. And so everybody was in their own, you know, corner of doing stuff. So just as a very quick review, I mean, like, Whitmore was working on Limehouse Lurker. I mean, after all the vulnerable scenes and scenes at the house, Whitmore was working at Limehouse Lurker. Lord James Campbell-Hughes, was working on St. Petersburg Mirror, and then Victor was working on Monochromatic Men with Rosicrucius. So those were, I mean, like, you all went your separate ways, and it was beautiful. So I mean, you got a lot done, but I'm happy to, you know, just do a scene with, a scene each furthering day phase to, if you want to gather more clues, and then we can go right into dusk and night phase. Okay, so yeah, you did talk with your friend Sir Anthony about the St. Petersburg mirror stuff, and you were going to go visit Count Orlov because he was supposedly the patron who gave her the St. Petersburg mirror in the first place. He's the cultural attaché.
And Whitmore was going to tag along with you because he learned of Count Olaf as a patron of Melody's shop. That was not last time, that was 2 sessions prior. But last session, Whitmore went to the Limehouse School and spent some time trying to instill some good, reputable values into the youth, namely sewing lessons for the little girls at the school. And then he wandered into the basement, not realizing that that is very likely the vampire's lair, and made it out unscathed. And then, just for the sake of recap, I believe Paul had Victor and Rosicrucius trying to break into the morgue at Three Mills Island to identify the body or to get more clues, and accidentally gave the press a front row seat to the entire case.
Doc, were you sleeping it off at Hargrave House, or do you think you were elsewhere?
Um, I think I was. We were on a good trail on our when we were in our search for the Limehouse Lurker. But I mean, as far as where I was retroactively, I was probably out doing stuff. Um, but I don't know exactly where I'd fit in as far as the recap of the session I missed.
Right.
Because I missed last session, which was in the session I was on last was a night phase.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, we could just easily say, like, you were having a like a lay-in, like you were
Sure.
like sleeping off a massive hangover or whatever, and didn't hear all the hubbub that had happened in the house, which I
That
can
that
totally
totally
believe.
adds up to me.
Yes, I totally, especially for the coffin varnish that you had. You had a particularly weird dose, so maybe you were like, you know, completely out of it, which is
That's
fine.
that's always a danger for sure.
Yeah.
I just for me personally,
hmm
I have the dawn questions. I have some dawn questions marked on my sheet. Did I do that?
We marked it in for you, I think. If
Okay.
we, if like, you might have done them, but definitely if we had answered a question last time, we wanted to make sure that you got that point, and if we resolved a threat, obviously to get that point as well. So go ahead and add that to your XP track. If it pushes you into an advancement, then just mark off accordingly and such. Okay. And
Will
then
do.
now you can clear your dawn questions. We wanted to make sure that you knew that you had points coming to you.
Perfect. Yes,
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate that. I will, let's see, we'll be back down to 1 and I've got a advancement. But yeah, a lay-in sounds like probably what Doc would need to do. Anyway, we had a very discouraging experience trying to track the Limehouse lurker. It was productive. We got some clues, Lord James Campbell-Hughes and I, in the last session I was in. But I believe in our chase, we caused a bit of a kind of like what's the show they do that has the funny sound where the English policemen are chasing each other? Benny Hill, right? We did kind of a that where
You
that
got
meets like who's on first Abbott and Costello bit with one police officer getting very confused and very scared, but also really suspicious, but then mostly scared and then going on his way.
But it did leave or lead Whitmore back to that workhouse, and there were some cool scenes with him kind of training the kids, and then also like getting information. So he followed up on our leads around the Limehouse district at the workhouse.
Oh yeah, right.
yeah.
So that adds up. That all went perfectly then, totally as planned.
Whitmore sent in his bruisers to rough them up before coming in. Fist cop, good cop.
This
Mhm.
good cup's great.
All right, so we'll take you forever wherever you want to go. So if you want to somehow, do you even have that move, Whitmore? I forget.
I
Oh,
do
actually, let's
not
take a
have a
look at the.
personal Friday, if that's what you were asking.
Yeah, just wanted to know about that. But like, now that we've kind of established what had happened, let's take a look at the hunters conditions wise first, and then we will establish where they are at this part of the day phase. Okay, so Doc, you are eager for blood. Hmm. But yeah, so eager for blood, and you're rising from like one hell of a lay-in. And then Lord James Campbell-Hughes, you still have a close call with Scotland Yard. Pretty close. But I think you also had asked, oh God, what's his name? Really long name. General Herzog to help protect the house. So you got that ongoing, I think. And then Whitmore, you have otherworldly surveillance. So, yeah. And I'm perfectly happy if people want to come together in some way, like checking in at the house before heading off to wherever they're going to head off to. Um,
I actually don't think I don't think during the day phase Lord James is going to go after Count Orloff. I think instead I want to answer the question and do it in a night phase.
ooh,
So that we can actually like um
have something.
actually we can make something happen with Count Orloff instead of just pushing him around, because we've got plenty of clues.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm happy. Well, okay. So let me.
So I think I would defer to the rest of the group in terms of what they do during the last scenes of this day phase.
Okay.
Um, because I think
Would
I'm gonna save Orloff at night, I think.
Okay. All right. So Would anybody else like to do anything for a day phase, or do you want to go straight to dusk so this way you can like start doing all the things and then answer a question, at least one question?
I'm
Um,
cool with going to dusk.
What
there's
about you?
one thing I think I'd like Whitmore to have to do, just because if we wrap up St. Petersburg Mirror poorly, he may not have a chance to do this.
Oh,
And
okay.
that is go to Melody's shop while
Oh.
it's open during the day.
She hadn't planned on it necessarily, but I mean, after that encounter with Victor, it's kind of like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go do something normal. And she does. She goes back to her flat. She goes ahead and changes, and you know, into her business attire, and then also throws on an apron just in case she does anything like, you know, kind of dusty or dirty around her shop. Pardon. Excuse me. And then she will head down to her shop, a candle lit. Um, yeah, so she's there. Um, she's open, but I mean, like, it doesn't seem like anybody's really around at the moment. So, I mean, like, she's just working on adding inventory to her shelves. Um, and I don't remember. It's terrible. Let me see. Did we add that to the London tab? Let me see. Okay, no. So nobody's really like entered anything in for the candle lit because you didn't get a chance to go in there. Okay, so Whitmore, you have headed to the candle lit. She's there. She's dressed in, of course, business day garb, and she's got an apron over her stuff in case she gets dirty or dusty. And yeah, this is a strange place. Paint the scene. Entering this shop, you would imagine that it would have, um, it looks rather quaint. Starts off seeing many candles, of course. But as you go deeper into the shop, you see things that make this a very unique shop, uniquely suited for possible otherworldly workings. What kind of goods do you see here after all the candles?
We would see that there's a bookshelf full of old dusty tomes, and every so often the bookshelf itself would shudder, and the books would rearrange themselves on the shelf during this brief shuddering.
And just as a reminder, paint the scenes are for everyone unless specifically told, just for the person at the scene. This is for everyone.
I'm gonna say there's like a cabinet that looks like it's got on display like maybe doll furniture or doll clothes, but on closer inspection, they're totally everything works, like everything is workable. It's not like a fake cabinet. It's like it has like real drawers and real doorknobs as if they've been shrunk. Same thing with clothes. They actually have real buttons and they have real clasp, even though they're in miniature.
Uh, and I think that there is a small kind of terrarium. Um, Not as quite as big as a terrarium. I'm thinking truly small. That has a bejeweled, like gold and jewel centipede in it. Crystal glass terrarium with like gilded corners, and then inside is just like a rather large. I think centipede. Centipede's what I'm thinking of, not millipede. Yeah, centipede. One of the really spooky looking ones with like the kind of pincer looking things at both ends. You know, those ones that can get frightfully big and live in the rainforest. But it's made of gold and jewels, and it moves sometimes, but like mostly it's not noticeable.
So a slothful thing with lots of legs.
And
Got
made
it.
of gold and jewels. Yeah.
Okay. That's behind the counter, and you
hmm
might get a glimpse of that, Whitmore. Excuse me.
Whitmore does not like.
And she, you know, the shop bell dingles, and then she hears you come in, and then she's wiping her hands. Oh, Mr. Whitmore, just saw you earlier. I mean, um, I, I,
Yes.
what kind of goods are you looking for here?
Oh, I was coming both with just a brief warning and the hope to purchase something along those lines. I my my employer, Lord James Campbell-Hughes, seems to be preparing for war.
Whoa,
Um, he's having Hargrave House buttoned up and patrolling guards around. So it would probably behoove you not to head too close to the house in the coming days, lest one of the guards get too Billy Club happy. But it was about that I've come. I was hoping, since Lord James Campbell-Hughes has decided that this particular problem can only be solved with violence and probably fire, lots of fire, that an injury or worse, a death may become someone. And
oh
I
dear.
was wondering if you happen to have any remedies for that.
You mean like, I don't know. And she kind of comes up close to you, like kind of just like whispers. Are you speaking of healing? Something for.
Something of that nature, yes. Specifically to prevent one's holy soul from slipping off this mortal coil if the worst should come. If
Interesting. Um,
if if not, by all means, I will take some other precautions. But the thought of anyone, Lord James Campbell-Hughes or otherwise, perishing in this war of his is a frightful and trifle too far.
Indeed. Hold on, let me just see if you guys answered that one question because I can't remember if you did or not. Um, I can't remember. Did you guys answer the question about where the Shoreditch Slugger's power comes from?
Yes, we did. We do have the move
Eternal
Eternal
Man.
Man.
Okay. All right. Because I mean, like, you know,
Mhm.
which because I was trying to think of like if I wanted to explain it away with that, you know, with
Yep.
whatever you came up with, but I mean, I don't think it has to be. I think she will not say anything, but she will kind of wave you further into the store, like towards the back, and then you see the terrarium on the side behind the counter, and then maybe the cabinet, not the cabinet, the bookshelves that jump a little. Maybe they do so just as you pass, and your peripheral vision kind of gives you like this, like what, and then it's done. But yeah, she brings you to the back, and then she kind of, what's it called? It's a fancy name, and I just want to make sure I have that term correct. Let me see. Yep. She pulls out what looks like it's tarnished but yet gilded. But then again, now you're not sure whether it's actual gild or if it's true gold that hasn't been uh, shined. And it looks like it's a reliquary. And she pulls from it, and it's like, you know, like you can hear like her shuffling through it, like, you know, some heavy things, some hard things. And then she pulls out this globe, this sphere that seems to have some kind of holy symbol etched upon it. And she will hand this very gingerly to you and say, you can see here, it has quarters, and then it can actually be split even further, I think into eighths. But this is its own reliquary. I think if you open it and you take one of these pieces, inside the piece will be have something that you can administer. I know you would take care of it well and only use it when you really need to. I hope it
Absolutely.
helps.
Whitmore would, of course, pay for the object, for this reliquary of reliquaries. Take it back to Hargrave House, and probably during the dusk phase, as Lord James Campbell-Hughes cleans his weaponry, place it somewhere in Lord James Campbell-Hughes's room, on a desk, a bookshelf, a nightstand, just in case.
I'm debating on whether to just put that as fictional positioning or actually put it into one of your personal quarters, but I'm not sure what I want to do yet with that. So we'll just put that for fictional positioning for right now. Go ahead and put that in a place that you wouldn't necessarily mark just yet, but just know that you have access to it. Okay? All right. So if that is all you wanted to do to close out day phase, we can go head over into, give me a second. Hello. Dusk. All right. So resolve any playbook moves or custom moves that are resolved during the dusk phase. So American, please
Yeah.
roll for quickening.
Can I pitch you something?
Sure.
So I took my level up from the points I got last time. I've got that all plugged in correctly.
Mhm.
I did my last ability increase. I've increased my sensitivity now to the max way, +3.
Okay.
So as kind of this narrative move, this like set of waves in the direction of becoming more in tune with the spooky stuff, and becoming like ever more paranoid about this move and like the control I'm wrestling for within myself that it represents.
Yeah.
I was going to try to use one of the items in my personal quarters to try to give myself advantage on this roll.
Okay.
And it was going to come as kind of not a premonition, like a prophetic just idea that would occur to Doc as he was like pacing back and forth in his room, approaching another night where he'd have to try his best to stay in control. It would be to just totally burn and completely destroy the immaculately taxidermed cougar that I have, which I wasn't, I forgot even how I got that, but it lined up pretty well with the different like symptoms of the thing that I've been describing.
Oh, you found it in the basement.
Oh, right.
Claim that.
Yeah, now it makes sense why someone else gave that to me, which I guess is really cool. It fits perfectly. But
Okay,
yeah,
so you're
I
going
didn't
to
know what you
mark
thought.
that. Okay,
Is it?
so basically you would be doing advantage.
Mhm.
So 3d6, take the two highest, plus your, I imagine, sensitivity modifier.
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
we'll do. Oh, that's not how I want to do. Make a complex roll. Here we go. So we'll do +3, 3d6. We'll take the highest two. So we'll roll. Highest two are is that a 4 and a 3? So 7 + 3, that's 10.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so you are feeling pretty heightened. Okay, hold on, let me see. 10 plus, your body is stronger and faster, and you manage to keep the quickening in check. You roll with advantage when taking actions that use vitality until the next dawn phase. So, yeah, start figuring out how you want to apply this newfound or always, underlying vitality
Mhm.
for this upcoming night phase. Okay?
Okay.
Figure out how to parlay that. Okay, and then Lord James Campbell-Hughes. Were you planning on doing anything else? Okay. All right, and then Whitmore, you have, excuse me, day work. Choose one.
Yes. As a reminder, both for myself and those of you listening at home, I either learn something interesting about an active threat, ask the keeper a question, I get the answer in the form of a clue. Or, I'm sorry, they may answer truthfully and completely, or in the form of a clue. Or I find something useful in the house, say what it is, give it to another hunter, and they add it to their personal quarters. Last session, Victor said something interesting, and so I'd like to give him one of the previous hunters in the house was probably a detective, an inspector, possibly even with Scotland Yard. But I believe Whitmore would have at some point found their old detective bag. Because Victor was bemoaning the fact that he could not, that he was geared towards the punching and less so the crime solving. So I think Whitmore hearing this would give him a detective's kit.
Okay. Go ahead and add that to Victor's personal quarters with the bracketed subtext saying, like, Factotum's day work. So this way Victor knows where that's from. That's lovely. Paint the scene question about Hargrave House to the players. And then remember that you can put your answers into Rooms at Hargrave House, the tab that is in our keeper. Let's see what we're going to play with tonight. Actually, you know what? Let me find out what you're planning on, or what question you plan on answering, which could help determine, the next steps for the room, the unseen, and what you guys plan on doing for night phase. Okay, so let's see, the threats. 4. Oh God, why didn't I hide this back again? Goodness. All right, so St. Petersburg Mirror, you have, oof, you have 9 clues, and yeah, essentially you'd be picking what you want to answer because you can answer, is the St. Petersburg Mirror genuine, which is a complexity 2, that's a separate question. And then to actually resolve the threat, you have 3 choices. 1 a complexity 4, 1 a complexity 4, and 1 a complexity 6. So it would just be, what trickery and deceit does Madame Sorokin deploy in order to dupe those who come to her parlor? So you would expose her as a fraud and discredit her in the public eye, reducing the risk that she will be able to find further victims. That's a complexity 4. Or, who is truly behind the blackmail ring, and how are they using Madame Sorokin as a pawn in their game? So you deal with the power behind Madame Sorokin. If Hargrave House feels that Madame Sorokin is useful, you may be able to recruit her to the cause. So that's complexity 4. And then finally, the complexity 6 is about how do you know that not only is Madame Sorokin a true psychic, but currently only using a small portion of her potential, and given time, what could she achieve? So you resolve the threat by bringing Madame Sorokin under control, whether through force, magic, or reason. Approached carefully, she could be an asset, but she might be too dangerous to handle. Again, complexity 6. 9 clues on the board, however you want to handle this.
I was thinking from our discussion last time with Count Orloff of going with the middle one. That
Same.
Count Orloff is behind the scenes, and he's using Madame Sorokin. And we talked about it. And I don't remember why, but we talked about him not even knowing that the St. Petersburg Mirror is actually legit, and that would explain a lot of the clues with all the fake stuff, because he's got all the fake stuff set up, and then actually Madame Sorokin has this mirror that's actually it's actually magic. So I was thinking about going with the second one.
That was my thought as well, based on everything that's been hinted at.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then
Based on what I've heard, that sounds like a good idea.
And then probably also claiming that yes, the St. Petersburg Mirror is genuine.
Mhm.
Okay,
Because
so
we do have the clues for it.
Okay, so let's
Did you want
which theory has more clues attached to it? Like, can you answer the genuine mirror question first, which is complexity 2, or do you have the blackmail ring, how are they using Madame Sorokin?
I think if we do the mirror first, we can clear out all those supernatural clues, and then that leaves us with Count Orloff.
Okay, go for it.
So if I look at the where are they at? Here they are. a glimpse into another time or place.
Okay.
Spectral
That's-
manifestations with the secrets.
Okay.
The dark seance, and then that grotesque figure saw in the mirror. All those clues show that this mirror can be used to like see in different places and different times. That it actually can manifest spirits, which goes with the spectral manifestation in the seance. And then I can't remember where we saw that mirror. Was that it at Sir Anthony's?
No,
Yes,
the St. Petersburg Mirrors is actually over at with
No, I
Madame
mean that where
Sorkin.
we saw the body in front of the mirror that was all twisted.
yes, I believe those came
Yeah.
from Sir Anthony.
Hmm.
So that's just I think all those four just gives us a solid. It's a magic mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The question though is, do we want to leave a seance revealing a dark secret? Because the dark secret does not have to be supernatural. The dark secret could be a man
Yeah.
standing behind Madame Sorkin
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
a knife.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead and if you only want to use 3 clues for that, then that just gives you a +1.
That was just the
I think-
question to the group.
I think we can get a +2 on both of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I use one of my one of my abilities, is I can take the mastermind clues and use. So if I take the hunter's reflection briefly fails to match their movement,
That's yeah.
I can
Mhm.
use that for the mirror and then give the dark secret that you guys are suggesting to Count Orloff.
And then
That works.
I'll make
Feel
a note.
free and copy the mastermind clue into that clue part, just making sure you mark it as an MM clue. So we know where that's coming from. And then go ahead and check that off as a clue you're using.
I try to put which threat I use those for. There we
Oh,
go.
okay, gotcha. Okay.
And then I moved that over, and so that gives us a solid +2,
Okay.
easy peasy.
Who's rolling?
Daniel, you just called it easy peasy. I think that
Mhm.
dooms you to making this right.
agree.
I'll do
Hard
this one.
agree.
Yeah, I'll do this one. Well, they're both going to get +2, I think.
Yes, but only one of them was insulted.
6 + 2 is 8. So I rolled
Mirror is genuine.
at an 8.
Okay. All right. Now you have to piece together the remaining clues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 clues that can be used towards who is truly behind the blackmail ring and how are they using Madame Sorkin as a pawn.
So I would like to think that one of the portraits in Madame Sorokin's seance room has cut out eyes. There's a small room behind there that someone can very easily, someone say, Count Orloff. I keep wanting to call him Count Olaf from a series of unfortunate events, and that's going to be. I'm going to screw that up sometime this evening. But Count Orloff stands behind there, possibly even working the projector that runs the ghost to con people into Madame Sorokin is real, despite her actually being real.
Okay.
I almost get the sense that he's done this before, like, but now he's got a new, mistress of the occult. So I kind of think he's done this to blackmail people using this embezzlement and to get classified documents from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that I think he's been doing that for a while. And then the dark secret. What were you guys thinking about the seance? Is what?
Maybe
you saying
that's
that they
when.
kinda, like,
I mean, like, well, my thought could be that, that a seance reveals a dark secret. So one of the seances is where it's like, it's kind of like coded for certain people. Like, there's a communication where she finds out something for them, or like, she kind of like, what's the word? She leads the discovery of this a dark secret, but what it really means is like there's a secret, like political or government secret that she's going to reveal if they don't cooperate with Count Orlov. But it's revealed in the seance as a dark secret, you know.
Ooh,
So
I
being
like
very
that.
like very obtuse, but yet like very clear to the recipient that yes, I see the whatever the notes of the money or whatever, something fairly obvious but also vague. So that could be used.
Question: do our clues have to also answer the question attached to the question that we're answering here? Do we have to use the clues to answer how are they using Madame Sorkin
Yes, they
as a
should
pawn?
be. Yes.
Okay, I haven't heard anything that sounded like it was touching on that yet.
I kind of think that's what Maz was just talking about. Like that we get this spooky, ghost show going on, and then Madame Sorenkin is like, I sense a dark secret, and maybe she really does. And then somebody there that's being blackmailed who owes a lot of money or something, they're
Oh,
like, how did you know? How did you know my dark secret?
Yeah,
I
or
read the
like the
question as
tell.
how are they manipulating her into doing this work for them? How are they like
Oh, as a
forcing her to keep
pawn,
doing
yeah, in
this?
their
Yeah.
Mhm.
game.
How are they using her as a pawn? So like I was thinking something connecting like maybe the REC connection and the classified government documents to imply like maybe as payment for this, she is having some past crime covered up through a contact in the REC who's cozy enough to the government.
Oh shit.
I don't remember where that came from or what who the person was. Did we
Oh,
ever?
that was Victor.
No.
That was Victor last time because I mean he said something to you about how he saw one of the blackmail members that was there. Like I think it was like the people over by the lake that were talking to the people that were passing the documents while the gang members were like trying to overwhelm him. He saw that they had an REC pin.
Did we ever figure out who that was?
No, I mean again, it was like a
I mean,
vague enough clue.
I
All the
mean,
better for her.
it is
Yeah.
possible that that is in fact a fake REC pin that Count Olaf has managed to obtain.
Yeah. I mean,
Orlov,
You
that's
did.
I've already done it.
You did
I've
it.
you've already done it.
already
You
done
already done it.
Did it.
You did it.
Oh, I wasn't the
No, I
first
like that.
one.
No, no, it's good. So yeah, I mean, like, I mean, he couldn't get close enough to see it was to check to make sure it was a real REC pin. Because remember, like Victor had asked Lord James Campbell-Hughes, it's like, do you have something to, excuse me, identify yourself? And like, like Lord Campbell-Hughes was reeling off the different things that you have, and then he took one of those as like that ties that particular person over there to the REC. But as said, it could be faked.
Help us prove, at least for our own edification, that Orloff was the one doing
Yeah.
this. Because it sounds like he was present for like the moment where that idea might have spawned. Like he got to hear a bit more about how the REC identifies themselves than a normal person
Mm.
would.
I mean, he
Mhm.
could be talking to other folks. Now, mind you, it could be an underling. It could be somebody that perhaps, you know, goes in and out of the REC often enough, but not high enough to serve
Mm.
somebody directly that would give away that secret, or just kind of like toss it off in their cups, like, ah, yeah, they wear those prissy pins, da da da, whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's something that could possibly be uh, done. You have a good, decent enough forger. They can draw that stuff, and
Mhm.
they could draw it easily from memory. Um, so
And
not that I would know anything about it. I'm just saying.
Mm.
given
Movies,
how,
man, movies.
yeah,
Two,
or
three, four, five,
given how
six.
often the REC is in the newspaper, I'm sure that there's been a photograph of someone wearing a pin at some point.
Yeah, and it only has to be seen, but not examined closely. So yeah, I like that. I don't know how you feel about the rest of the clues being used.
I
Okay,
dig it.
so yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 clues puts you at a +2 for that particular question. And who's rolling?
Since I'm going with Lord Campbell-Hughes, I'll take this one on my shoulders.
Okay.
Okay.
You're brave. Thank you.
I will warn you, my dice have either been rolling a bunch of 6s or a bunch of 1s. And they roll in the middle for once this evening. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nice. Okay, so blackmail ring. ATQ. 10, right?
Yes, 10. That's after the +2.
All right, cool. So you are definitely right. And I guess that leads into confronting the lion in his den, I suppose. He's over at the Russian embassy.
Mhm.
This could cause an international incident. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Perfect opportunity for me to stand out in London society for all the wrong reasons and use violence to solve a problem. Oh man, if
That'd
only
be-
I had advantage on all of my physical strength rolls for the
I
rest of
want
the
I
night.
want to see you be extremely vital tonight, sir.
Ugh.
So
Yeah.
so I suppose, does that mean that all three of us are going to the Russian embassy this
I
evening?
guess.
Well,
Is that what it
I'm off.
means?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is the monochromatic men threat, is that going to expire at the end of the night?
Not
I
tonight,
couldn't.
no.
No, okay. I thought I
There
saw a
are
tracker.
there are I believe if the tracker's right, 3 night phases.
4. Yes, you get 4 night phases.
So we will have 2 more clue gathering day phases, and we've already got 5 clues on it. So
Awesome. Okay.
plus I think we want to wait for Victor to be here so that he and Rasha Crucis can have their moment.
Totally.
That's sweet. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm cool with all of us going. I mean, we're good. We're doing well. We have a lot of clues and whatnot. So, I could go hunt a vampire by myself, but I feel like I've already done that a bunch.
Fair. All right. So given that, I mean, like, you all going, so this should be pretty successful. Give me a second. I just want to double check to make sure I got everything I need here. And then we're going to go back to the rooms at Hargrave House to see what you guys are going to work on. Let me see. The dining room. You don't take meals together often, but tonight is an exception. What's on the menu? Again, putting this in rooms at Hargrave House. What's on the menu in the dining room?
Panically Googling Russian dishes.
I think that Doc, maybe it's a combination of restless energy or one of the bouts of longing for home that he has now and again. But I think he's making like, tell me if this is too cartoonish, like campfire baked beans in the kitchen. And like the kitchen has way more stuff than he would normally use. I could imagine like him and Whitmore going through the kitchen, Doc trying to do stuff in the way you would do if you were just like in the dirt next to a river, and Whitmore's like, well, we can clean the beans, we can soak them too, etc. Like really, they're really good, really nice ham hock in it, and they've been kind of stewing all day, and Doc's been that's part of the long lay down I did during this day was I've been cooking beans.
Nice. I love that. That is beautiful. Okay. What else is on the table?
I think Whitmore would have prepared probably a hearty dinner for this evening. Going with the Russian theme, probably a beef stroganoff. So slow braised beef that probably he asked Doc to watch all day, and half the beef is missing in the beans. So we'll be having mostly noodles with a little bit of beef. Oh, and of course gin, plenty of gin for Lord James Campbell-Hughes.
And I think to round it off, we'll have for dessert sticky toffee pudding.
Delicious. Oh my gosh. All
What a
right.
heavy meal. Big balls of campfire baked beans. Almost beef stroganoff and then just sticky toffee pudding.
Oh my God, now that you brought that up,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like beans, musical fruit.
Yeah. Now let's go strong arm people at the Russian embassy.
Oh, well, well.
That does make me think about discretion. Does everybody have a bandit mask?
Lord James
Wait.
Campbell-Hughes, I
Wait.
thought you would
Wait.
never ask.
Oh my God, what's the plan here, right? Because you
Bandit
said,
mask.
well, besides that, because you said smash and grab, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
were you
Mission
planning on?
Impossible, yes.
But I mean, were you? Brain. Sorry, let me go back to the thread. God. Um.
Of course, I barely know about this because I wasn't at the session. Doc in canon doesn't, and goes, I could have. When Whitmore told me we were going to an embassy, I assumed that I'd be wearing a suit. You need bandit masks? I have bandit masks. This is great.
Oh no.
Let's do some crime.
Resolve the threat by dealing with the power behind Madame Sorokin, and if Hargrave House feels Madame Sorokin is useful, they may be able to recruit her to their cause. So that'll be up to you how this gets dealt with.
I think we're gonna kidnap him. I think we're gonna kidnap him and turn him over to the British government, somebody like in the foreign ministry office, but because we have a bunch of the classified documents, so I think we can prove this.
Yeah, true.
But I think that's what I think we're gonna kidnap him.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see how exciting this gets. So, for tonight's Unseen, let me see what has been done, not been done. Let me see.
Doc going over the plan. So essentially, this is cattle rustling. We're doing cattle rustling. I've never taken a person, but this works.
Whitmore would just calmly say, it's surprisingly easy.
Oh
Terrifying.
my. Oh my. Okay. So I think in deep contrast, we're going to use an evening promenade in Covent Garden. Let me read that off. Covent Garden houses a large market selling mostly fruit, vegetables, and fresh flowers, recently covered by a new market building. While most of the stalls have packed up by the time dusk falls, the area is still abuzz with visitors. Both the Royal Opera House and the Theatre Royal can be found here. And while it has cleaned up its image a little, it still has a reputation for hosting ladies of the evening. Paint the scene is, of course, everyone. Excuse me. Prompt 2 is going to be Jeremy. Prompt 3 will be Daniel. Prompt 4 will be Bob. Okay. As a reminder, the unseen for the night phase is meant to act as a thematic tie to, or excuse me, thematic/sensory tie to your hunter scenes or other hunter scenes. If you mention something about red wine in one unseen, then you want to try to incorporate the same type of imagery or feeling or vibe in your hunter scenes at another point. And you can take from anyone's unseen for inspiration to include it in your narration. So again, you want to get that echo of the night experience point, okay, when we do dawn questions. So, given that, paint the scene. As crowds gather for the evening performances and market porters close down their stalls, describe how this place is a crossroads for all strata of London society. And this prompt is for everyone.
I've got a short one. So on one side of the market, we can see people selling flowers around the fresh fruit and vegetables, and we see a pretty probably middle class couple getting ready to go to the opera, and the man buys this like white corsage for his wife to wear to the opera. On the other side of Covent Garden, we see these a gang of like street toughs, men in their late teens, early 20s, and you see them stop, and the leader of them buys these little boutonnieres, these red boutonnieres, and they place boutonnieres on all their shabby jackets as they get ready to go on the prowl.
I'm imagining seeing like in this hustle and bustle, like a pair of fine dressed capital G gentlemen strolling past, and then like someone's walking by with a container of wine or some other, non-toxic but very kind of dirtying liquid. It spills it all over one of the men, uh, who begins to like really lay into this considerably lower in social standing person who's made this mistake. And then we see intervening. The term I'm gravitating towards is like with air quotes or scare quotes here, fixer. Um, Not in the deadly wet work sense, in the like the guy that just solves problems. And I think we see this person attempt to release the tension of this very rich, very well off, probably well connected person trying to rain down their displeasure upon someone who is destitute and has little to nothing. And we see that very nice person be led away to like instantly be furnished with a replacement, because this guy, of course, knows exactly where to get a full suit of fine clothes, as the market stalls are closing. He knows just a guy will head right in the back door. I'll get you dressed, send these back to your estate. No harm, no foul. And like that calms the problem when things bustle on.
We'd also see standing out on the balcony of one of the theaters, a woman half dressed in costume, probably in flowing undergarments for a modern telling piece, makeup half on, half off, as she's looking out onto the streets. As you can hear from the inside the classic 3 bells signaling that the house lights are dimming and that the actors should take their places. You can see off in the distance another actor is running, fully in costume, carrying the woman's shoes that he just had repaired. And he makes it into the theater as the final chime gongs and the playhouse doors close.
How are you all making your approach? You understand that he, or through sources, you've found out that Count Vasily Orlov is the cultural attaché, and he is currently at the embassy. Whether entertaining or living there, you're not quite sure, but you know he's there. But you also know from Victor that Victor has the mirror. Is that of any import to you, or are you going straight for Count Orlov?
I think we're going straight for Count Orlov, but I don't really know exactly what the Russian embassy looks like. But we're all together. I think we're all together, and we're scoping it out to see how we're going to gain access. And I almost think we probably would have tried to find like we would have scoped it out or found contacts or things like that. We're not just going to like blindly walk in and start punching people. I think we're looking at it and scrutinizing it to try to figure out what's going to be our best way in. Whether we bought information or pulled some strings.
Yeah, I think you'll find that in kind of casing the embassy a little bit, you'll see that there's not apparent, but you will see what has been told to you are like regular guards. They don't look like guards, but like they are like making the rounds as if just coming in and out of the embassy, no problem. I mean, like maybe there's they're looking like they're in bespoke type suits, but yes, all of them are very trained. And another thing that you find is that Um, if Victor was here, he'd probably be able to identify some of them as some of the toughs that he had beaten up earlier or the other night.
I would turn to Doc, and I imagine we're looking at it. I kind of want to say we're looking at it from across the street in another building, like looking down on it.
Sure.
I kind of think that Lord James would turn to Doc and say, "What do you think, old boy? If this was the Alamo, how would you crack this nut?"
Well, I think the key is to find the shortest route from outside to exactly where Orloff is. We don't want to have to rough up any more people than we really have to. But Victor's already taken a couple of these old boys to town. I'm sure they're not feeling 100%. And even if they are, Victor's a formidable foe, but Victor can do it. I think the three of us together, at least.
Whitmore, what do you think? Do you think there's an entrance that we're not thinking about that may get us behind the scenes?
First and foremost, Mr. McBain, I do not appreciate the insinuation that I will be punching anyone. Secondly, yes, what you two have probably failed to realize is that we're only looking at the front of the embassy. There's a servant's entrance around the back.
That's pretty keen, Whitmore. I take back the punching thing.
The servant's entrance is going to be much less guarded. However, the two of you will stand out like sore thumbs, pointing to the fineries that Lord James Campbell-Hughes is currently wearing, and the fact that Doc presently has a cowboy hat on.
Discretion is needed, and so I suggested at dinner that everybody grab some type of mask that a bandit would use, a highwayman.
You said bandit mask. I remember.
So I assume
to
that
get into the servant's entrance, we should dress more laid down. Whitmore would say, while pulling out from a large trunk suits, probably some of his own suits. One that conspicuously is already Lord James Campbell-Hughes' size, and others trying to piece together something for Doc, to make you look like servants.
So I'm taking off my jacket and I'm taking off my cufflinks, and excellent idea. What's the thread count on these trousers, Whitmore?
For Doc and I, considerably less. For you, 754.
We'll have to do what we have to do.
All right. That's almost too much for me to follow. I get to put on the bandit mask when I'm inside or at any point tonight. Yes.
And Whitmore would pull out 3 bandit masks already sewed into pocket squares.
Whitmore, you're not going to believe this. I've also pulled out 3 bandit masks. They're not in the pocket squares though, so probably we should go with yours. I didn't
think you were taking me serious. So I also brought these golden. I have these 3 golden masks that we can use to get into a nightclub later on. If we're still up for it, the night tap, we have to wear these golden Venetian style masks. But Whitmore's are pretty good.
We have a wealth of riches, truly an embarrassment of riches, I think would be the right term.
An embarrassment of bandit masks.
Let's keep the after plans up in the air for now, I think. And we'll put on some costumes and sneak into the embassy and beat up a guy. Sounds like a simple plan.
Whitmore will, of course, adjust the white pocket square that Lord James Campbell-Hughes has, just ever so neatly making sure that it's straight. Mostly as an excuse to get close to your chest. For reasons.
Do I come across as a longshoreman, perhaps, Whitmore, or maybe because I think you've got kind of a porter look to you. I'm hoping for a longshoreman.
Sir, I think that you look exactly like £1,000,000. But longshoreman works too.
Just proceed to the servants' quarters if you could kindly show us the way, Whitmore.
Yeah, let's get at this full chisel. I'm getting more and more excited about going to that place with the fancy mask after this.
Whitmore lead them to the servants' entrance.
Jeremy, a young girl sells bouquets outside the flower hall, made up from the leftovers of the day's trade. Who comes to her to buy, and who are they taking the flowers to?
A man, probably in his 60s, maybe even a little bit older than that, hunched with a thick cane, walks slowly up to the stall and places down £100 note and asks the girl if she'll help deliver the flowers and buys the entire cart. He is very quiet on the walk on this delivery. The young girl keeps trying to ask him what he needs a cart full of flowers for. And it's only when they reach their destination that she shuts up and realizes they're at a cemetery. The old man goes and points out a series of graves, and they walk amongst them. It's not every grave, but it feels like it. And when they finally wrap up, she finally reads the sign on the cemetery and realizes that the old man bought flowers for his dead war platoon.
I think as you enter the servants' quarters as subtly as possible, you pass again some of these thugs. Maybe they are acting a part themselves as like attendants or assistants or assistants to the attaches and ambassadors and such here, and they look at you three, and some will just kind of like sniff and go about their rounds, and others will kind of take a very long stare at each of you, especially for Doc and for Lord James Campbell-Hughes, who carry themselves much differently than other servants, perhaps. In fact, one of them may kind of indicate to you, Doc, "Eh, you there?
Yeah,
You
what's up?
you need to. What's up? You are different. You do not seem to act like one of the other servants."
Oh, you know what? My apologies there. I'm new. I'm brand new. It's my first day. And as you may be able to tell, I'm not from around here. So I'm picking things up as I go. But I promise I'm a quick learner. Um, it's just I fell on some hard times over back in the States. And I don't have anything pulled right now, but this is me telling a big tall tale about the crazy adventure that it took for me to get from America to here and how, and then it ends like, and that's how I got a job
Is
as a
this your
servant here.
move?
Yeah,
Is this okay? Great.
yeah, this is tall tales.
What do you have to do for it? I'm sorry. It's like I haven't looked at it in a while.
Okay, I can read it off if you want me
Yeah,
to.
please
Yep.
do.
Okay, so when you tell a story from back home that is wildly unbelievable in order to charm someone, roll with presence. On a hit, they fall for your charm and do as you wish, or reveal a clue, your choice. On a 10 plus, they won't ask you for anything in return. On a 12 plus, they also give you a keepsake to remember them by. Ask another hunter what it is, write it down in your personal quarters.
Okay, so
The story is a ripoff of Fievel. Remember that American
yes,
mouse story?
American
But
Tail.
it's in reverse. It's in reverse.
Oh my
For
god.
England instead of like
Right,
fake.
right. Oh my god. Sure.
So I'll roll presence.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Yeah, you're good. So,
Okay.
yeah, you have to roll presence, so you can't use advantage towards your
Yeah,
vitality.
just regular good stuff. I
Yeah.
feel bad I couldn't come up with anything more specific, but I'm happy with the
No,
American
no, no,
Tail
it's fine. It's
reference.
fine.
Okay, did I? That's a 9. That's a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So tall tales. Sorry.
And I just want him to do what I want. I don't want a
Yes,
clue,
yes.
which is just like let me continue to do this job.
He smiles at you and then just kind of, well, welcome. You are too funny for being an American. And he kind of juts his chin and has you go along your way. Another one, Lord James Campbell-Hughes will kind of accost you and say, "You there? Aren't you a little bit old to be serving at this late hour? Shouldn't you be asleep, Grandpa?"
Yes, and it's going to cost your embassy a lot more money hauling me out of bed to fix a leaky faucet. I'll tell you right now. The check will be the bill will be represent my expertise as a long haul plumber from Yorkshire.
Where is this supposed leak?
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know everything. I'm hopefully there's somebody here that will lead us to the. Or we can just turn around and go back home.
No. Fine. And then, he kind of mutters something in Russian to one of the other um, thugs, and that person will kind of call down. Like there's kind of like one of those, I forget what they're called, like the devices that are kind of like the old phone earpiece things or whatever. But I mean, it's kind of like got the horn attachment to it, like to the wall, and then he kind of calls down to someone, and you hear something very unintelligible on the other side, and they say, "Oh," and then speaks in Russian, and then indicates maybe down the hall, and then to their left or something like that. We will accompany you to make sure that you are going to the right room. There may be things that you should not see here in the embassy.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Let's go, fellas.
And then they'll say something to each other in Russian, and then there's a little closed captioning on the bottom where it says, it's like, ugh, these servants are ridiculous. Ugh. And so they bring you over to the room where the supposed leak is. Um, but I'm gonna say that when you go into this room, it's dark, and it is also dimly lit in a corner where you can see something giving off some kind of light. But the door is closed behind you, and then you hear the door lock. And, yeah. Night move. What are you afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
Who's it for?
It is for all of you. You are in this. If you're all going together,
Mhm.
if you are all going together, then it's yeah, it's for all of you.
Walk into a room, door closes. Now it's just black, total.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a light. There's a light somewhere coming from the corner. You can't tell from where you are, where, what it's coming from. But yeah, you hear the door lock behind you.
Hmm.
Somehow I don't think this is the leaky faucet.
All these places have leaky faucets, Whitmore. It's not a perfected science. I'm afraid that that maybe they used the mirror to know that we were going to do this, and so it's a trap. I'm afraid it's a trap.
Yes. It is a
Okay.
trap, and it's going to catch all of you in it. And yes, they're going to dispatch you with the people that you didn't see. And yeah, there will be some, you know, possibly some unidentifiable bodies, you know, at the edge of the Thames tomorrow. So,
Their
Poor,
bodies.
poor, poor Victor, having to solve all of the rest of the threats by himself.
Uh-huh.
So they should call an ambulance for them.
Perfect. We did the
perfect.
meme.
Yep,
Did
we
the
did it.
meme.
I want to try to fix the light situation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to try like find a
I've-
bedside table light lantern.
I've got my RAC cigarette lighter.
Oh, awesome.
Okay,
I
so
like Doc's mumbling out loud, like a light. We need a light.
well, I mean, like I can make this as complicated or as simple as you want. So you can all like, somebody roll for everybody, or you each roll individually to see what happens to each of you in this
I'm
room.
not sure what we're doing. I mean, we're not just going to stand here. So
Yeah.
Right.
we're springing into action. I wouldn't mind kicking the door back open and
Okay.
pulling out like my my giant Howdah pistol out of the tool bag.
All
Oh, bandit's mask on.
right. Yes. Yes.
Again, well, I mean, like I said,
Activate bandit mask.
we can oh my God. We can either make this as simple or as complicated as you like. You can either roll individually or like one person roll. If the one person's gonna roll, I will suggest it's like it should be Doc with advantage for
Yeah.
vitality.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that. I was kind of just waiting to see if people would come into the room so I could just brutalize them, but it would make
Who's to say
probably
that
more
they're not
sense.
there already now?
Well, that's what the light is for. I don't know if the cigarette lighter can give me enough light to see if there are people already in the room. But either way, I should
You
probably
have
just take the
heightened
door back.
senses, if I recall correctly.
Oh my gosh, you're totally right. It doesn't mechanize them, but it's mentioned.
No, I mean, like, come
yeah.
on now, what are we playing? We are playing a collaborative narrative game here. We do not need to mechanize every goddamn thing. Excuse my language.
It's all good.
It's all good. So yeah, I mean, like, if you want to go with your advantage for vitality, and then everybody springs into action because of whatever you roll, that's perfect. Again,
Okay.
3d6, take the two highest plus your vitality modifier.
Okay. And I'm generally going to be trying to bust the door back open. So it doesn't matter if there are guys already in here. I want us to not be trapped. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
3, take the highest, and that's +1. Add another d6. Roll it. That is a 9.
Based on that, you succeed in breaking the door down. But hold on, before we get into the complications, I want to hear what everybody else is doing while this is happening.
I'm pulling out the firearm with one hand and then the cigarette lighter with the other to light up this room.
Okay.
And
And
shoot.
then okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Count Orloff.
Whitmore's plumbing supplies look a whole lot like that police go bag he didn't steal. So
Okay.
Whitmore's masking up and probably putting on like a leather stab vest. I assume that the police, like, just leather, like some leathers that the police
Right.
would use in their anti-riot gear.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Doc is going back, tearing the door down, Lord James Campbell-Hughes is going forward or to the side, whatever he lights up and doesn't look like the two of you, he's going to shoot at, I'm sure. And then you're going where?
I am going to probably mistakenly follow up with the rear with the police go bag.
I'm going to say you tear off the door. Doc, and then like the some of the thugs are still out there, like kind of surprised. But then as you do that and let a little bit of light in from the hall, then Lord James Campbell-Hughes, like, with your lighter up and your gun up, you will see illuminated like several faces that are already here, about ready to converge upon you all, um, wearing the same type of like either business attire or like, in the full thug uniform or whatever. And Whitmore, it's like wherever you are placed, it's like, maybe you're still in the shadows, so they haven't seen you yet. I mean, like, so tell me how this fight ensues. There is light enough to see, like obviously Lord James Campbell-Hughes, if you let loose with your gun, then I mean you have several targets that are illuminated to you, and Doc, you have let more light in.
Mhm.
Whitmore, I mean, like, again, you can stay hidden or you can act as well.
I think
And
I'm
Tell me
Barrett,
gonna
what this
have to
looks like.
yell to Doc to get Orloff. And we were showing you pictures of the guy. He's like this. He's pretty immaculate. I kind of picture him with a thin mustache, but I don't know if he has one of those or not. But we would have given you pictures of him, and I think I just shout to you to get Orloff,
okay,
and we'll take care of these guys.
that's great. I was gonna attack the guys that were now just
If you want
outside
to
the
go,
door.
if you want to
Yeah,
go through them if you barrel through
exactly.
them as you carnage your way to Orloff, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bandit mask on.
Bandit mask on. Or I pulled it up. I had Whitmore help me tie one of the bandit masks into what looked like an ascot, so I can just pull it up. Because
Nice.
Doc had to be very clear. Like, I'm just used to pulling it right up. I'm not sure I can do another 2 steps. I have to just go up.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, I think you've torn open the door, and I mean, I don't know how intense you want to say your senses have been made in this, like, in the quickening, but as you let more light in, I think you hear down the hall, like further down from where these guys are. It's like, you hear, um, it's like, keep them busy. I have to get to the mirror. And yeah,
Great. How many people are between me and going further that direction?
at least three.
At least 3. Okay.
Mhm. And then you two will, James Campbell-Hughes and Whitmore, you find yourselves, like, you saw three of them in the room with you. Whitmore, you spot like a few more, ready to jump Campbell-Hughes, as the light streams in from the hallway.
I will jump to Lord Campbell-Hughes's defense. Back to back. Lord James Campbell-Hughes, I presume, gun out. Whitmore probably loosely holding a shotgun
Okay.
from Lord James Campbell-Hughes's collection.
Daniel, what scenes of high drama do we see play out on the stage of the Royal Opera House? And how do we see these same tragedies and romances play out on the street outside?
We see a very intense scene where these Venusian street toughs are fighting with these rapiers, and as the music reaches its crescendo, we see those street toughs from earlier in London with their red boutonnieres. We see them kicking a door and start looting a shop that they've had their eye on.
Doc, I think you have burst through the door. You see the three that are in your way, and you heard that voice down the hall saying that he's going to go to the mirror. And however you want to put it, I think you understand that that is the big boss. That is Orlov. Um, lots of fictional hand waving right here. But that is the guy you have to chase.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, you tell me how you get down the hallway, what it looks like.
So I'm imagining a bunch of, because every time I think of an embassy, no matter what time period, there's a bunch of decorative, very shiny, high polished decorative tables with like statues or lamps. And in this case, I think it's like kind of thick, heavy bottomed vases of flowers. And I'm just gonna, as I'm picking up speed down the hallway, just grab these things one by one and like start pitching them at their heads, uh, at like frightening, supernaturally enhanced strength. And depending on how well that goes, I'm either gonna be able to knock them over. Maybe I might have to do a bit more of a bob and weave around them. But yeah, I'm trying to hurt them in the face with heavy vases that I can throw really fast.
Okay. Going back to Lord Campbell-Hughes and Whitmore, tell me what you were doing with these henchmen. It's like, you saw three, and then another three converge upon, from behind to Lord James Campbell-Hughes, and then maybe there's another couple that have hidden in the corner, but yeah, everybody is in melee, or like, or, um, you know, trying to hide in take cover in their own respective corners to do what they need to do.
So
Tell me what this looks like.
this Howdah pistol that I have, I think I
Mhm.
talked about it a couple sessions ago. It's made for when you're in India and you're like on an elephant and you're hunting. It's made to like take down tigers in one shot. So it's like this massive, big double barrel pistol, the Howdah. So Lord Campbell-Hughes is gonna like shoot two of the guys like in the leg, like aim low and hit him in the legs, which is going to be messy, and then crack the next guy with the metal of the pistol as he gets ready to reload. So that's his plan for three.
And Whitmore, without the strength to knock them unconscious, is probably just going to fire a barrage out of the shotgun.
I
You're
think
muted.
you two hear some pounding coming up from a staircase that you didn't realize was there, or behind like a door that you didn't realize was there, and it sounds like there's maybe reinforcements coming. What do you do?
Um, Whitmore would call to Lord James Campbell-Hughes to see if you can use your physical strength to keep the door closed while Whitmore attempts to bar the door shut.
Yeah. And while his back's against the wall, he cracks open this pistol and puts in some more of these huge rounds inside of the pistol as he's holding his back up against the door.
And Whitmore would be probably looking for like the spikes off of the torture clubs that are in this room, like using them as nails to just like I imagine this is the room they torture and beat up people in. Why else would they send us here? So I
Right.
grabbed some of the loose nails and shrapnel that's about and makeshift a door. A, my mind keeps wanting to say zombie-proof door, but a barricade behind Lord James Campbell-Hughes hammering the nails in.
Just for funsies, I'm going to mention that as you're finding these things and you're doing this, and Lord James Campbell-Hughes is against the door, like, just making sure that he's barring the way and providing weight. I think, like, on one of the baseboards, I think you do see, like, a bit of a leak, like a small puddle forming. Just for fun.
Oh, the irony.
Oh, the irony. Yep. Um, Back to you, Doc. Doc, you've run down the hallway, and then you can see this figure pounding away from you. He looks like he's dressed in what seems to be a full-tailed coat. I mean, like not longer than maybe his past his knees, but I mean, like, it's very well appointed. It's not only a dark patterned coat, but it also has like embroidery the same color as the coat, so it gives it some kind of texture. Again, your senses are just like having you aware of like all these things, and you just see the back of his head, smooth, slick, and yeah, very refined. But he's running down this hallway to get away from you, and he's and he's moving through the hall as if he's got a target in mind, like running upstairs.
Gotcha. And so, as this person's involvement in this series of blackmail and extortion and that kind of thing, as it was explained to Doc by Whitmore and James Campbell-Hughes, what does Doc think like the worst thing this guy's done is? Like make a little bit of extra money, steal from rich people, or like hurt someone?
Oh, he's killed people.
Okay.
He runs the ring of spies
Mm-hmm.
and the blackmail gang. And through Madame Sorokin and the St. Petersburg and her use of the St. Petersburg mirror, he has found out some secrets. So if they don't pay and they don't, they don't cough up what he wants, then they are dead.
Okay.
Or people that they know are
Well,
dead.
Doc's hot on his trail.
Yep.
Doc's a little bit, probably even more hyped up now that he busted 3 goons in the head with vases, and they probably went down like a sacks of flour. So
I'm gonna say
provided,
that I'm gonna say that in his rush upstairs, like all the decorative dadas, whatever that's around. Maybe there's vases in the sconces in the wall. Maybe there's like some like minor furniture, like spindly tables in the hall. He's like also crashing them down on the floor to give you obstacles to get around.
All right.
But he doesn't know how high powered you are right now.
Right. So yeah, behind me there's like just a sea of water and flowers covering 3 people that are on their back with like porcelain around their heads. And I'm like full Olympic hurdle runner trying to jump over all of these things he's knocking down and throwing in my path. Provided I can get close enough to him, I think Doc would just, I mean, not go for the kill, not literally go for the kill probably, but go very I'll use the most recent big cat we mentioned in the game, like just pounce like a tiger and like knock him, like push him down forward from the back of his head.
Yeah. Okay.
So like put him to sleep that way.
Oh, so basically, okay. So are you knocking him unconscious?
That's the idea.
Okay. And your plan?
To leap through the air like a large predatory cat and like use my momentum and my crazy strength to just smack him in the back of the head hard enough that he goes down, lands full on his face, and if not knocked out, is like very, very, very disoriented because probably his nose is broken.
Night move.
Okay.
It's going to be dangerous, and like the a possible complication will be that more thugs are on the way to protect him and make sure that you do not get to him.
Okay. Vitality.
Vitality. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
What are you
that
afraid
is.
will go wrong?
Honestly, because I think Doc would mostly be worried. The part of him that's not totally caught up in the kind of blood rush of this would be a little bit worried about accidentally killing this person. And like, it'd be bad if there were more guys. I don't think Doc's super afraid of more guys. But if there were more guys and now this is a dead body instead of a person we're going to turn over to the English government, that may be a bit more complicated, or
Just a
moral.
wee.
Mm-hmm.
Just a wee. Okay. So yeah, no, yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm gonna say that dead body, and they're gonna overwhelm you, and yeah.
Okay. Let's see. 3d6, taking the 2 highest, plus 1. That is a 10. 5, 4, and then plus 1.
Yes. Great. So I think you've already described, I mean, unless there's something that you want to add to your description of what you do to him. And I think you're calm enough to know that you've knocked him out and he's still breathing. But yeah, you've captured him, I guess. He didn't even have a chance to do any kind of monologuing or what have you, but you have him. And then Lord James Campbell-Hughes and Whitmore, tell me how you finish up in the torture slash interrogation room.
I think I'm gonna, with the pistol reloaded, I think I'm gonna turn, and we heard you said people coming upstairs, so I'm gonna angle it. I'm gonna put the pistol against the door and angle it where I think they probably are,
Mhm.
and pull both triggers to just like send all kinds of wood shrapnel and bullets spraying down at these guys in this. I'm picturing like a small stairway, and then I'm looking for like exits.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I think Whitmore, if you happen to peek out the room after
mhm.
you block the door and such, I think you'll see there's a there's a load of carnage down the hallway, but then like you don't see anybody coming, and again, it's just a hot mess out there. But clear if you guys want to head downstairs to go out, or are you going to chase after Doc,
I
who is
think
headed
it's
upstairs?
I think it's probably best if we also head upstairs, mostly to assist Doc in making sure that we can get Orloff out, because getting him out of the embassy is priority number one.
Then we should secure a door, like a way out. Maybe. Do you want to go up,
So-
or do you want to try to find the door that we can, the servant's interest that we came in? Maybe we could secure that so we have a way out of here.
So I'll
You can do either one. It doesn't matter to me.
yeah,
They don't seem
if
like they're gonna be dangerous.
you go, why don't you go? No, you should secure the servant's entrance because you're much better with a gun than I am.
Well, that's a shotgun. Just point in a general direction and
That
pull the trigger. Here's some more shells. And then if the authorities come to the back door, I'll deal with them.
and Whitmore will take the shells and head upstairs to help Doc get Orloff out.
Okay. In which case, Bob. In a gin palace later in the evening, sex workers and actors sit side by side, enjoying a drink after a busy night. How do we see the kinship they feel for each other?
I'm imagining a fairly large group of both of these, both these kinds of people. And I think what it is them kind of like going over the highs and lows of the night. So you have actors being like, oh, and then I hit my mark just right, and I threw my hands up, and the rings that are supposed to come off of my hand did really well, and they hit the crowd, and everyone was roaring, and it was like I was in the finest auditoriums in the world. And then on the flip side, you have similar play-by-plays from the sex workers, which are a bit maybe more, not safe for work. And rock, it's not all of them. Some of they're just like, I did the thing where I dropped my handkerchief and this guy melted. He bought me a silk handkerchief from like all the way east. It was beautiful and twice as much as he already paid me for the night. Uh, that kind of a thing. But then there's also, you can see like a lot of miming, a lot of inappropriate miming, I think. And they're just, laughing and bouncing back and forth, drinking the cheap stuff, but really having a good time going over the just like the bright spots of both of their performances.
I think, Whitmore, as you head upstairs, when you get to the top of the stairs and you look down this hallway, you see in the middle of the hallway a figure that has been knocked down, and it looks like um, the figure of Doc wearing what he was wearing, standing over him. What do you see that indicates possibly a feral nature?
I would say that Doc's smile, as he's realized that he's knocked this guy out, and we can see that his canines are kind of bulging out of his mouth just a little bit. Almost, definitely not the fangs of a vampire, but definitely the more carnal teeth, sharper than they should be, glinting and smiling out.
And Doc, you see Whitmore coming up behind you.
We got a vamoose. Whitmore, Come on.
Uh, Lord James Campbell-Hughes is securing the servants' entrance. We can take him back that way. Oh, I'm sorry. The American.
There we go.
Good thing you didn't do this. The explorers out back securing the servants' entrance. Let me, the Factotum, help you carry this.
Perfect.
There we
I'm
go.
trying
Code
to think.
names. We've
Yeah,
used the code names.
we use the code names now. I don't know how easy it is for Doc to pick up a human body and carry it. I feel like
You have the assistance of Whitmore, who either can help you physically carry him,
Mhm.
or can instruct you on how to fireman's carry.
Could you also, I see you have a shotgun. Could you shoot anyone that tries to stop us from getting to the service entrance?
That was the plan.
Okay. That works for me. I'm gonna pick this guy up, and Doc does that. And I think we gotta book it.
Um,
The moose.
as we do so, the realization that Doc has just told Whitmore to shoot people, I think, starts dawning on what's actually happening to Whitmore. And to appease his good Christian soul, because I presume there are a bunch of flowers scattered about.
Oh, yes.
Can Whitmore
Seriously.
just down the hallway, shotgun in hand, like ever so slowly, like hunch over, pick up some flowers, and like just start putting them on the dead bodies in a sort of funeral rite? Because oh God, Whitmore is not going to be okay in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, he's not going to be okay in the morning.
Meanwhile, you're down at the servants' entrance, securing securing it to make sure that they're clear to come down. There are people that seem to be trying to come and investigate what's going on. However, because you were in the torture interrogation room, I think that was actually very sound secured. But nobody can miss the mess in the hallway. Just saying. So, in which case, there are people that are still about. You know, even with the skeleton crew that's still here, like maybe one or like two or three people that are kind of around and like doing the thing of just seeing if they can spot the perpetrators, basically.
I'm gonna shout that they're getting away out the front. They're getting away out the front, the opposite of where we're going. They're getting away out the front. They're taking the ambassador out the front. That's what I'm gonna try to do some misdirection.
Are you doing it in Russian?
If I can speak Russian.
I don't know. Can you speak Russian? Do you want to use, I don't know, presence or composure to see if you can fake out?
Quick
Maybe he does it with a
question.
Russian accent.
Silly question.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lord James Campbell-Hughes is my employer, would he be able to say use the large prop book to from my personal quarters to translate a phrase, or no?
Mechanically to give him advantage, or you're just saying that for fictional positioning?
Mechanically to give him advantage.
Yeah, I mean, like, as long as it's okay with you as the owner of the item in your personal quarters, you could gift it to another player, but once they mark it for advantage, you can no longer use it. So, as long as you're okay with that, you can totally do it.
It's up to you, Lord James Campbell-Hughes.
Or you can just roll composure and see what you get.
I've got pretty high composure.
Okay.
Composure or presence? Which one did you want me to use?
I'm gonna say composure because you're trying to do something sneaky, or
Yeah, let's just go with that because I've got a +2 and I think I know Lord James has traveled the world like his whole life, so I'm
sure.
pretty sure he picked up enough Russian to say, to the front,
Yeah. So basically, you'd know how to do it. But again, this is a night move because this is risky. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
Um, that they'll notice that I have like they'll take a look to see who's shouting and see that I'm wearing a bandit mask and have a gun firearm.
Right. Yeah, pretty sure the people at the embassy won't be wearing those. So sure, I think
Well, certain rooms they probably are.
maybe sure. But anyway, yeah, they will definitely identify you as an outsider, haul you into the torture interrogation room, and yeah, unidentified body in the Thames. So
+2.
yes.
A 5 and a 1 gives me a 6. A +2 is 8. That's very similar to my other roll.
Okay. All right. So you succeed in diverting these three to to the front. I'm gonna give you your complication a little later. I think by now the other two have started to come down the stairs and you're waving them onward. And you've secured that particular entrance. Who goes first? And who, like, what's the order in leaving the embassy? Let me ask you that first.
I think we would have that my RAC handsome cab guy. What's his name? I think he would be like ready for us in an alley. So I'm shoving this howdah back into the bag and pulling my mask off as I step out into the alley.
So wait, are you first or you last?
I'm first. Yeah.
I should be in the middle or like behind both you and Whitmore, I think, because I even with the mask off, I'm still carrying a human body.
Yeah, I'm going first.
I feel like Whitmore should be in front of Doc because he's got a close range shotgun in hand and does not want to accidentally shoot Doc.
Lord Campbell-Hughes, I think as you step into the alleyway, it is dark on both ends. And in front of you is the doorway to a simple pub with a clapboard board that says, "The Night Tap." And if you look behind you, Doc, you do not see the Russian embassy anymore.
All right. We've vamoosed a lot.
You still have
Quickly.
you still have Count Orlov, like
Mhm.
unconscious Count Orlov with you, but you are in front of the Night Tap.
Well, either you know what this is about?
I've been here before. This is the place I told you that we need these gold masks.
Oh, oh,
Oh, you were
amazing. This is great.
I was not expecting this to be during the middle of the heist.
Bully for us. I mean, what do we got to do with this with Orloff? Do we have to put him somewhere before we go?
Now let's just bring him in and buy him a drink.
Okay. I can't tell ever when you're joking, Lord James Campbell-Hughes.
Oh, I'm not joking about gin. Come on, put on the mask.
You got it. I put on a mask.
Whitmore's already got
Gold.
the
I
mask
don't know. I
on.
don't remember what the gold mask looked like. What did the gold mask look like?
They're featureless gold masks for the most part. I think now because, well, let's do the paint the scene for everyone again, because again, it's been a while since you've been here. It's a simple pub. Its front facade sits at the back of a dark and obscure alleyway, packed with mysterious patrons in featureless gold masks, the air smoky and reeking of beer. Paint the scene. Being here feels like being unstuck in time. What do you experience that makes you feel this way? And you are welcome to put again these descriptions into London, the London tab. Being here feels like being unstuck in time. What do you experience that makes you feel this way?
We see a patron paying the bartender in like coins from like 1,000 years ago. They look like just copper bits with some symbols hammered on them. They're not modern coins.
We'd see a portrait of the royal family. Only if you take a close look at it, it's not just the current royal family. It is every monarch England will ever have and has ever had.
I think there's a diorama of a battle from the Civil War. No, wait, we're in the early 90s, 1900s, aren't we? Dang nabbit.
No, it would work. Which Civil War? The British Civil War or the American Civil War?
I was thinking the American Civil War, but like a diorama isn't necessarily out of time. That's just a thing that probably exists. I got thrown off because I was thinking something personal from Doc that was going to throw Doc backwards in time, but now I want to think of something that is truly out of time. Uh, the modern American flag is hanging up in one corner. Like there's a bunch of flags, and the American one looks different than what Doc is used to. That's a lot more stars. Like way too many stars. All right. He keeps that to himself though.
I think as you approach the bartender who remembers you from last time, Lord Campbell-Hughes, I think this is where Orlov gets up, who has an immense bruise on along his jawline where he smacked into the floor. I think Lord Campbell-Hughes has been here before, but for you two that have not, the barman looks painfully familiar, like from a dream, but escapes all identifiability. He immediately will provide 3 drinks, no, 4, as Orloff is waking up, each of you getting a drink in front of you. What is the drink that he sets in front of you? Your usual, then.
Again, going subtle and continuing with the out of time kind of thing. I think it's just like a really good, really, really cold American style lager. No, not American style light lager. So it's not like a Bud Light, right? This is like this is Bell's Lager of the Lakes in an ice cold pint glass, like out of a freezer, and a shot of like really well quality controlled whiskey where like the heads and the tails are very much able to be kept separate. There's no chance of it being poison. This is good, current, modern, old American whiskey, and the kind of clean American lager experience that you probably couldn't get in the late 1800s, and it's cold.
Given the slow realization that Whitmore is having about everything he's just done in the last half hour or so, a stiff cup of tea made with holy water instead of normal tap.
Did you have one, Lord Campbell-Hughes, or you?
Oh, it's gin.
Okay. And, yeah. I think, yeah, as Orloff wakes up, he just kind of contemplates you all as he's rubbing his very bruised jawline. Again, very, what's the word? Immaculate, except for the tussle, debonair, and he calmly will sit there and then from his jacket pull out a cigarette holder. Anyone have the light?
All right, I got you. I have a light. I light a match.
And he takes a long drag out of it. And blows it in the air. And in this place, The smoke turns into what looks like the frame of a mirror. Ah, I find the mystical arts most intriguing, I will admit. Call it backward superstition, but I feel there is always more going on than meets the eye. What will you do with me now?
Doc kind of looks over to Lord James Campbell-Hughes. Both in a I think you know the answer to this better than I do, and also, are we gonna tell him?
Well, I mean, it's not really up to us, Orloff. It's not really up to us. Oh, look, he gave you vodka. Stereotypes, stereotypes. But needless to say, your spy ring in London that's over.
How do you say? You do not have proof?
Yeah, we're not. We're not like law enforcement officials. We're 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 dangerous people who deal with dangerous things in the dark, things that crawl up from the gutters and things that come from crypts and tombs from across the land that come to our fair city and try to ruin and destroy and seduce. We're the guys that deal with that.
Ugh. How banal. All they're going to do is ship me back. What is it? Deport me? If that? Or, once I step out of that door, I'm sure I will not live very long past that.
I'm not 100% sure you can even step out that door. This,
And to be
this may be
frank,
your this may actually be your new home, Count Orloff.
you're kind of lucky that you're alive now. I feel like you're being too flip, not trying to be threatening, but being a little bit too flippant for my liking. I had to work hard to make sure you got to wake up and have this drink.
Well, perhaps I am more nihilistic than any of you. It does not matter. I do what I do. I did what I did. Just to have it to do. In the end, none of it matters. But every so often, it pleases me to help a countrywoman far from home.
I don't
And
think
he takes a long drag out of his cigarette, still looking at you all.
Whitmore would look up from his cup of tea, still undrunken. I don't think what you did was help Madame Sorokin. I think what you did was put her in grave danger. Have you seen what's behind that mirror, the St. Petersburg mirror? We have, behind the frosted, silvered glass, is a horror, a creature that simply wants to get out. It lives in another time and place. It is a spectral manifestation of secrets, not yours, not mine, not the Queen's, not the Tsar's. It is a creature that cares not for the whims of the mortals that listen to it. It is a creature I'm not even sure God could contest. And you've placed all of us, Madame Sorokin, your countrywoman, the people in that embassy, your other countrymen at home at risk. Just for what? Petty cash? A small benefit? No, there are things here that would tear your soul from your body into so many pieces. I don't even think you know the Russian number for it. And Whitmore would just go back to staring, looking for answers inside of his teacup.
And Count Orloff laughs a little and says, I do not pretend to care for many things, but it sounds like this thing behind the mirror and I have similar thoughts, that it cares not for anything. And given that, little Englishman, do you think I care if I have a soul? And he takes a long drag of his cigarette. And that's where we will end the night phase. And you eventually come out of the night tap into the dawn. Let's look at the hunters. All right, so dawn questions. Doc, did the hunters answer a question? Yes. Did the hunters resolve a threat? Yes. Did you experience an echo in the night? I'm pretty sure I heard at least one.
Yeah, I was thinking all the flowers across that hallway after I knocked all those guys out.
Yes. Did you use violence to solve a problem?
Couple times.
Yeah. Did you stick out in London society for all the wrong reasons?
I did get caught by that one Russian guy. And I assumed that he was saying like you act different than English servants act. But
Yeah, no, I mean, well, you definitely did.
I act different than everyone in that embassy acts, I'm sure.
So, I mean, sure. You
Okay.
want to take that point. Lord James Campbell-Hughes and hunters answered a question, resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night? I think I heard one.
Yeah, the kicking the door in.
Yes. Okay. Did you use your loyalty to Her Majesty to justify your brutal actions?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep. Did you deliver a chilling, dead-eyed monologue about the horrors of the world?
Couple times, yes.
Okay, go ahead. Take those points. And Whitmore. Hunters answered a question. Hunters resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Yes, by placing flowers on the dead bodies.
Yes. Did you ensure your employer got credit for your triumphs?
Do not believe that I did.
Why do I feel like you did, though? What?
I was having the same.
Hold on. Let me think a minute. I feel like you did some mention of it somewhere, where you were like, mentioning Lord Campbell-Hughes for. Was it with Melody or like in the very beginning of being at the embassy?
Or even when he was when he was dressing us across the street from the embassy,
Yeah.
and he was like kind of doting on the explorer,
I'll
right?
take
That
that.
The,
Yeah.
I mean, he did it in front of the American.
Yeah.
that
No,
was that was for the demonstrate obsolescent behavior towards employer in front of others.
again, I just feel like I feel like you did it somewhere. I just
I
don't
cannot-
remember where.
I
Maybe-
also do not have in my notes where that would have occurred, but
Maybe it was just the like back and forth chit chat in the trap room. Like when you all moved from when you like let off the first volley and took care of everyone in the room and then had to move towards blocking things off. Maybe it was something with the chatter with you like saying, having Lord James Campbell-Hughes block the door because you weren't strong enough to block the door. I don't know.
Something, yeah.
I don't know.
I would say thank you and check that one off.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, go ahead and fill your XP track. Change your elective dawn questions as you will. Let's see. Helps to be out of night phase. Okay. Your quickening has ended. Playbook or custom moves that are resolved during the dawn phase. Do we have anything? Quickening. Okay, that ends. Memory is the servant?
Mm-hmm. So during dawn phase, tell the keeper I'm claiming a memento, which can be any object from the recently concluded night phase
Sure.
that I would have reasonably been able to acquire.
Okay.
If I keep it, I add it to my personal quarters. Otherwise, I give it to another hunter and mark XP.
Okay.
Let me think about that one.
Okay, put a TBD on that one.
Yes.
Okay. Doc, you have a Mask of the Past still hanging out there?
I do.
Yes.
I got a decent. Okay, so
Remember to
this.
read out the prompt and then
Yes.
narrate.
So this was narrate a flashback to your young adulthood that shows the incident that made you start to resent, even despise your parents. And I'm just gonna let's see. I'm gonna read this just word for word. This is not like the full flowy monologue of it that I probably had, but I wrote down like a good chunk of what I was thinking. I will just mention this does reference a past Mask of the Past. There was like a servant child I was playing with that I think got pulled away from, and then I think I like put down my favorite racehorse. My dad made me do that. So I mean, if you're thinking about it, I've already narrated at least one flashback that could inspire resentment, but this is what I have here. So the boy from earlier, whose name the readers know is Dorian, uh, son of two servants of high position, and right, my name is Julius. Julius fall in young love, uh, wrestling and throwing dandelion seeds at one another, like through the expansive grounds of the mansion. Julius, and again, this is kind of a silent montage, and then we see very much like Julius was called to the main house earlier about the dead horse. So like a very long set of shots from to outside the manor, to down the lawn, to into the orchard, to down where Julius and Dorian are like just enjoying carefree young love. And then a shot each going back through these different places, and the distance is really stretched out. Both of his parents force him to break up with Dorian because of his lowly station, uh, and they threaten to fire Dorian's parents if Julius will not relent and just won't. Just they're asking him to completely cut ties and to just never be around Dorian again. And with the threat of having Dorian's parents fired, and that kind of being a fully life-ending situation in this time, we cut to a painful breakup, and then cut again to Julius riding too hard across the ground. So really like kicking his horse into a froth, and like tears streaming down his face as he's attempting to kind of swallow this. I think he specifically kept it a secret. Like did not go, hey, I'm sorry, but we can't hang out. Otherwise your parents are going to get fired. Julius is too afraid of his parents and thinks maybe a bit too highly of them. And he may be right that they would kind of know if that were the case and still follow through on a threat. So Julius just doesn't want to risk it. And that's what makes it a particularly challenging breakup to just happen. And then the aftermath for Julius is very like lonely and isolated.
Thank you. And let's see. You come out of the night tap with the count. However, I think the camera will move, or I should say, like there's a transition to a different scene where it is Madame Sorokin's place, and it is now empty. All of the trappings of her fortune telling and her seances and such, most of that is gone. Maybe there are some curtains left, maybe the beaded curtain in between areas is still clicking in the aftermath. That's how a few moments passed as she left the premises. And she is in a carriage, darkened carriage, her face unreadable. And she is dropped off someplace, also unidentified. And she steps out of the carriage with a package in tow. And she says, "I've brought it. It seems my employer is unable to use my talents in using this gift. Is this something that you can teach me to use with even more knowledge?" And the camera pans just slightly, angles where you see a dark hood in front of her. And then it focuses in a little bit more where the light falls on this hood, and it is no longer dark, but it is burgundy colored. And you hear a voice coming from the hood saying, "Yes, I think we can make use of both it and your abilities quite well." And with that, stars and wishes. Stars are things you like about the session, each other, gameplay, all that, and wishes are what you would like to see for next time or the future.
Let's see. Stars. I wanted to start with Mads. In general, I really like the flow of that. There was a lot of action, and I think it just you were guiding it well and letting it be smooth, but also letting it be explosive. Felt good to play. Been way too long since I played this game. Gosh darn it. But I think really the standout moment for me was the just the evil villain post monologue in the night tab afterwards. That was picture perfect. So much so that like I felt myself like I do when I'm watching a good movie where there's a really easy to hate villain, like getting frustrated with how like just evil they kind of are. So loved that. And then I feel like the star is too broad, so I apologize, but stars to both Jeremy and Daniel, just because we really got to do the American Explorer and Factotum thing this session, and y'all really, really brought it. It was potent Explorer and Factotum energy coming out of every scene, from us splitting up in that fight, you two defending that kind of position all on your own, the conversation before we came in when we were all showing the masks that we all brought. All of that was just so much steeped in this energy, and seeing it bounce between the three of us was really, really enjoyable. Wishes. I think that the next turn I want to see for Doc is something a little bit less focused on supernatural violence, just because because it'd be interesting, because being able to be super strong kind of makes things feel a little bit less dangerous. Not a criticism so much as just that's what I'm going to be aiming for with my questions and how I'm playing Doc in this upcoming stretch, is something a bit more contemplative. Maybe running back into Cobweb would be nice, that kind of a thing. but we do fight. We do fight Cobweb and I. Yeah, whatever.
I have, let's see what I have. I kept some notes. Um, Jeremy's two for Jeremy's. One is I like how Jeremy assumed that room that we were in was like this torture room where they're gonna like pull out our fingernails and things like that. I liked how I like how he took that and like ran with it for supplies and like hammer. I wrote down torture nails where he hammers in like torture nails for the door. And then I really like the bandit mask. I got that from the Fantastic Mr. Fox. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Fantastic Mr. Fox. But when they go on a caper, they're like, has everybody got a bandit mask? And I liked how everybody had their own bandit mask, and that Whitmore had them so that we could disguise them as pocket squares. So big star there, and for Bob's the American saying bandit mask, and I thought you never asked, like, um, and then the banter between Whitmore and Doc. Can you shoot people? And then Whitmore's response is, that's the plan, and then the transition to the night tap. I know we talked about it, but I don't think that James Campbell-Hughes knew how to like get there. He didn't know like the trick. And that was a great Orloff. And I was kind of thinking, if we just ditch him here and put a mask on him, maybe he just like gets stuck in limbo. But I don't really know the metaphysics behind the tapping. Wishes. It's going to be good to get to catch Paul up to speed on a lot of this, and so I'm looking forward to having the band back together for that. So that's a wish.
First and foremost, a dislike of going last in these because you've taken many of my stars. But a star for both Daniel and Bob. For the entire chat conversation happening in the sidelines, that started with the joke about how we're going to be plumbers and how that just ran through the whole thing. And I'm so sorry that people won't be able to see the joy that is Doc saying, "It's a me, a kidnapper," in the chat as it came through. It was great in making a very violent session much more lighthearted. I think a star for everyone involved, because we really went into we're going to swing for the fences and their heads are going to go over that fence. Getting into both Lord James Campbell-Hughes's and Doc's sort of natural state of sometimes blood must be shed and sometimes it's fun was definitely great to see and play out. And then a fantastic star for Mads, because I am so glad that Madame Sorokin, I assume at least, is the threat that's turning into a minion of the mastermind, because, and this sort of drags into the wishes, it potentially means we get to see more of Melody. But the power that Madame Sorokin can bring is going to be a lot of fun. And so as far as wishes go, I'd love to see Melody continue to be a side character. I think she brings a nice groundness to Victor that I don't think we'd see. I don't think we'd see that side of him otherwise. And so I wish for her to stick around.
I mean, I echo the other things that, I mean, just like these little character details that just pop out. I mean, like, I know you guys don't mean to necessarily, but it's hilarious when it feeds from chat and then moves into the game with the plumbing. And then I just couldn't help myself. It's like, you really want to be like the plumbers, eh? I mean, like, you really want to bring that? Okay, fine. We're gonna have like the torture room leak a little. It'll be great. And then the thing with the mask, that is just golden. Like, for each one of you having your own interpretation of what masks to bring for being bandits. Oh my God, what the hell? And even the idea of the torture room in the first place, so that's awesome. And the code names that you kept on forgetting to use, and then you came back to it and like you remember to use them. It was just hilarious. I mean, again, I know it's supposed to be a dark game, but sometimes you just need something to weigh and balance that stuff out to make it even more scary when it gets scary, which I love. And I loved the quicker pace of doing. I'm sorry, so sorry, the violence. But I mean, like, it wasn't terrible, but it was a lot of things that you could picture happening in this session. So stars for all of that. It was actually beautifully wonderful to see. And to be honest, Daniel, I had the plan that I was going to have you guys go into the night tap, but when you brought in the gold masks, you cinched it. I was just like, yep, they're definitely going at the end of the at the end of the night. So that was beautiful, because I did remember that wish. I did remember that wish that you'd like to go back to the night tap and check it out again. And I modeled Count Orlov. I was trying so hard not to make it a French accent, but I don't remember how a Russian accent sounds. So I was thinking about the Marquis from John Wick 4, because he is such a scumbag. I was just like, yep, that's Count Orlov. There we go. It was perfect. And yes, Melody will be still around. You still have access to the candle lit. Again, this is a character that I've created, so she'll be in as long as I want. um so I'm glad you guys are finding it fun to have somebody, like, an NPC that can anchor like a corner of this particular playthrough. So I can appreciate that very much. Thank you. And I think wishes for next time. I want to see that conversation that Whitmore has with Lord Campbell-Hughes, or if, like, maybe either Doc or Victor cotton on to how he's feeling, if he shows it, about this killing that he did this evening. I mean, how it affects him and his beliefs. So if this is something that needs to be explored, or you want to try and follow that, see where it goes, especially because of your move, your custom move to be a confidant to others, is there something that they can possibly do for you? So it's a thought. I mean, this is a big heavy thing for Whitmore, and I'm glad to see it. I want to see a little bit more brutality from Lord Campbell-Hughes. I need to put him in. God dang it! I need to put him in more dangerous situations, seriously, because I don't see a lot of whole hell of a masks. I need to see more masks. And Doc, I mean, like, always a joy when you just throw in your tall tale, and also, like, just go all in for whatever's required. So violence, sure, absolutely, go for it, And so wishes to see, you able to use your moves as it was. I mean, like, even if you wanted to use Cruel as a Harlot's Curse tonight, that would have been very appropriate too. So you didn't have to necessarily go with them to the embassy, but I'm glad you did. So again, like, just use of moves, and just finding places to do that role play with the Dawn questions. I mean, as always, like, great job, everyone. Stars, and kudos for seeing more stuff happen. I mean, I just can't wait for day phase when we get to see more vulnerable scenes again. So, and hopefully, like, next time will be everybody on board. All right. So with that, if there's nothing else, yeah, just confirming the next time that we're going to play, which I'll put in the chat. Yeah, have a wonderful couple of weeks if I don't see you for something else. Happy gaming. Gosh. Thank you so much for joining my table.
Great
for
getting to hang out with
hosting.
y'all again.
Yes.
Absolutely. Good
everyone.
seeing you. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.